A life sentence for helping build the device that killed 22 innocent people.
As guilty verdicts on 22 counts of murder and conspiracy were handed down at the Old Bailey in London, families were there watching and waiting for a verdict, and also at a special court in Manchester.
Got justice, you know, and you know, there's 22 people up there that, you know, can rest in peace now. So yeah, it's just a very weird feeling. I thought we'd be all jubilant, and but it's just not. It doesn't feel like that at all.
So after a trial lasting 7 weeks, Hashem Abedi, the younger brother of the Manchester Arena bomber Salman Abedi, faces spending the rest of his life behind bars for a terror attack which specifically targeted young people and their parents.
The Abedis, both from Manchester and of Libyan parents, plotted together to detonate a suicide bomb in the foyer of the Arena after that concert by Ariana Grande in May 2017.
Our correspondent Elaine Willcox has been following the trial at the Old Bailey. Elaine, tell us about the reaction from families in court when that guilty verdict was read out.
Well, Vicky, there was sheer relief in court as the jury foreman repeated the words "guilty of murder" 22 times. At that point, the families burst into tears, some sobbing quietly throughout, holding pictures of their loved ones killed in this attack. They have shown immense dignity throughout this harrowing trial, in sharp contrast to the defendant, Hashem Abedi, who refused to answer any questions or even come to court. Another example, police say, of his cowardice. The Manchester-born brothers had built this bomb together using tutorials from the internet and duping friends and relatives within the Libyan community to buy their chemicals. But it was only after the attack that detectives were able to painstakingly piece together their deadly plan. My colleague Sarah Rogers has this report.
Would you know your own brother if that's what he was planning and thinking of doing?
Okay. But Hashem Abedi did know, because he was equally as guilty of the murder of 22 people. And at his trial, the timeline leading up to that deadly event was presented to a court for the first time. 19 seconds after this footage was captured, his brother Salman Abedi detonated the device in his backpack. Chilling CCTV revealed the bomber on reconnaissance missions of the Arena, walking amongst bystanders and even looking over his shoulder. But it was the prosecution's case that his younger brother Hashem Abedi, although he'd moved more than 2,000 miles away to Libya, stood shoulder to shoulder with him.
We, acting together with the police, were able to successfully bring this man back from Libya to face trial, sending a message to terrorist murderers that they may think there are safe places to hide, but actually there's no refuge.
Remnants collected from the crime scene were shown to the jury, the bomb likely made from a money tin, paint can and thousands of lethal nuts and bolts. They were told that the brothers concocted the plan together in Manchester and that Hashem Abedi's fingerprints were all over the plot, including on this twisted piece of metal from a cut-up oil can which was discovered at the Arena. Fragments were also found at other key bomb locations, along with DNA. Hashem Abedi said he was simply collecting them for scrap. But these rolled-up pieces were a prototype detonator, prosecutors said, all part of the deadly plan.
These are proper jihadists who have planned and executed this terrible attack. You know, these are not young men who have been led astray. It is entirely the sick ideology of IS.
The plot began in January 2017, the court heard, with Hashem Abedi beginning to dupe friends and family into buying chemicals. He used his mother's bank card to buy an industrial battery and purchase shrapnel. Phone and number plate evidence placed Hashem Abedi here within the vicinity of Hume Market when an email address was created on the free Wi-Fi. Court heard that that email address was used to buy 30 litres of bomb-making chemicals. And when translated from Arabic, it read, We have come to slaughter.
It's disgusting. It's just disgusting, and it is another fact in this case which is appalling to the society that we live in the UK.
During police searches, a torn-up piece of paper was pulled from a bin at the family home. It was the same email address, but it was at a flat on the outskirts of Manchester, where the chemicals were combined to create an explosive known as TATP. Police images revealed the inside of the so-called bomb factory. It was here at this block of flats in Blakely that the jury heard the explosives were made behind this door. The original tenant said he illegally sublet it because he needed the money, and when he moved back in, it smelt strongly of petrol or diesel. But he said he didn't think anything illegal had gone on here until he saw the bomber's face weeks later in the media. He did say it was left in a hurry and a mess. By this point, concerns had been raised by the brothers' uncle that they were becoming radicalised, and tickets were bought for them to join their parents in Libya. Court heard that that's why they had to vacate Somerton Court in a hurry, and they bought this micra to store the chemicals, so that 1 month later, when Salman Abedi returned, he could carry out the deadly plan alone. He rented a flat in the city centre under the fake name of Sam Abdi, buys a suitcase and visits the car left in Rusholme to collect the bomb. He appears to struggle to get it back inside the flat. There's a final purchase of screws and nuts to use as shrapnel. And following those final reconnaissance missions, he leaves the flat for the last time, even writing a note to apologise for the mess. With the bomb on his back, he travels to the arena before blowing himself up, killing 22 people and injuring hundreds more. It was the prosecution's case that Hashem Abedi's presence loomed large at all stages and at all locations. Today, the jury found he did share his brother's murderous intent in this, the most monstrous of events.
While speaking outside court, the mother of Martin Het thanked the police and the legal system for ensuring Hashem Abedi was brought back to the UK to face justice, the first time anyone has been extradited from Libya.
It gives us comfort to know the British justice system has played its role, but it does not give us closure. The loss of Martin, who was so unique, kind, hilarious and fabulous, is something we will have to live with for the rest of our lives. We have been shocked at the details of the case, which have been difficult to listen to. This attack was carefully planned by young men who had gone very wrong in life. It has strengthened my determination to do more to work with schools, to make whatever difference I can to prevent young people being radicalised.
Yes, Figan Murray said she will continue visiting those schools, and if she can stop just one person being radicalised, that will be an important part of her son's legacy. And she'll also continue her campaign to improve security in public venues. From the Old Bailey for now, back to you.
Thank you, Elaine. What a very, very brave lady, Figan, speaking there. Also, another very brave person joining us in the studio is Adam Lawler from Bury. Yeah, Adam was severely injured in the arena bomb. His close friend, Olivia Campbell-Hardy, who was only 15 and was with Adam on that night, well, she lost her life. And also from his home in Preston, we're joined by Daniel Callander, whose 18-year-old sister, Georgina, was also killed. We'll start with you, Adam, though. I mean, goodness, an extraordinary day for you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling elated that we've got some semblance of justice. Well, probably the most that we're legally allowed to give, you know. But yeah, time will tell. You've been sitting with us for about 5 minutes, and even watching the report from our reporter Sarah, I know you found that really difficult. How difficult is this time now, hearing all this stuff again, 3 years on? It's just something that it doesn't let die, it doesn't let lie. It's just constant, all this pressure, all this fear, all this rebuking of stuff I've seen and heard in my
deepest nightmares pretty much every day, every night. I don't sleep well, I don't feel well. But this sentence, this verdict today has brought me a bit of solace, yeah.
Daniel, you're here with us as well. Your mum released a statement today describing your sister Georgina as an exceedingly exceptional soul and everybody's inspiration. I'm guessing you'd obviously agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Forever smiling, you know, lights up the room when she walks in. You know, we worked together and it was, you know, a pleasure. What can I say? Well, you know, I'd give anything to have her back.
Daniel, I remember coming to your house just after this tragic event happened, and I met your mum and dad and you talked about Georgina then. Does it feel like you and everyone involved on that terrible night now have some form of justice?
Justice, yes. Closure, no. You know, it's been a very, very long, you know, nearly 3 years. And it's affected my family massively, you know, affected me personally, affected the people around me. And but yeah, at least we got something out of it at the end of the day.
Adam, do you feel like you've had some sort of, very briefly, is this justice today?
This is a form of justice, yeah. I think we all sort of know what might happen. Let's just hope. I think if I could say anything to Hashem Abedi, when I first went back to the arena to see Arctic Monkeys a year afterwards, I spit on the steps where you could see where he'd been. I'll spit on your grave too.
OK. Strong words there, but Adam, thank you very much, Steve, for joining us, and also Daniel as well. Later in the programme, we'll be hearing from Paul Price, whose partner Elaine, a former detective with Cheshire Police, was killed in the arena attack.
Well, on to the rest of the day's news now.